Disgraced attorney Alex Murdaugh is capitalizing on his win at the South Carolina Supreme Court last week that granted him a new trial for the murders of his wife and son.
So just moments ago, Murdaugh's attorney is announcing a new lawsuit against former clerk of court Becky Hill. She's the woman at the center of the High Court's decision to overturn Murdaugh's double murder conviction.
With the South Carolina Supreme Court's ruling, it has been adjudged as a matter of state law that she deprived Alex of his constitutional rights, deprived him of a right to a fair trial, and as a result, we've got to do it all over again, which nobody wants to do.
Well, NBC News legal analyst Misty Marris joining us now. Misty, Murdaugh's defense team asking for $600,000 in damages from Hill. It's how much it would reportedly cost for Murdaugh's first double murder trial to be retried here again. I guess, do we know who it would go to instead, and is it likely to be awarded?
So the theory is deprivation of civil rights under the color of law. So this means that one of his civil rights, in this case, his right to a fair trial, was interfered with by Becky Hill, who was an elected official, the clerk of the court. She intentionally interfered with his right to a fair trial, and so he deserves damages. That's the legal theory. Now, there's some challenges and some hurdles. Generally, those are hard to bring because there's immunity for people that are in government positions, but you get over that hump by showing that a clear constitutional right was violated. So if they can get over that hump, if these, beginning stages of litigation, ultimately this case moves through to a trial, there certainly could be damages. Sounds like those damages would go to his new legal fees, which will continue to accrue at that presser. The lawyers essentially said that they're working for free. They feel like their job is not done, but there really isn't any other money to pay them, and they do need to pay experts. So when they mentioned, when the decision came out from the Supreme Court, they said, we're looking at other avenues to get paid. Perhaps this was one of them.
Yeah, they revealed that on the Today Show with Craig
Correct.
Melvin. Let me ask you about this. The South Carolina Attorney General said that prosecutors could seek the death penalty during Murdaugh's during this double murder retrial. They didn't do so in the first trial. Do you think they would this time around?
So it's a double murder, so it's death eligible. That doesn't mean that necessarily prosecutors bring the case as death penalty. Important to note, there had been a 13-year hiatus in South Carolina on death row. That was the inability to get those pharmaceuticals and drugs that were used. That's now over. But during the time that this case was brought the first time, that hiatus was happening. Now, that doesn't mean the law is still in the books. The death penalty is there. But practically speaking, it can complicate the trial, make it more difficult. And when it comes to the death penalty, the jury has to be unanimous on penalty too. So the judge doesn't decide, it's the jury. So you basically have two trials in one.
I see. Makes it a lot more complicated.
And the second trial, for sure, on this double murder charges to begin with, which is a lot of folks are just still trying to process that.
Absolutely.
Even the attorneys said they don't want to do it over again.
Yeah.
All right, Misty, thank you so much.
Thank you.